Good day, researchers. Let's continue your journey, your research journey. You're done with Chapter 1, the problem and its background. This time, we move on to the review of related literature and studies, Chapter 2. What is it? It is a part of a research or study where the researcher gathers, compiles, and synthesizes information from various sources. The gathered information serves as the theoretical foundation towards solving the problem, your research problem. But why? Why do we have to study or review these related literatures? Why? It answers the question, what has been done relative to the problem at hand? What has been studied? What studies have been conducted that are related or will have some weight on the present study? So let's move on. Related literature and related studies. What are the differences? Related literature. It is any material, information, or article found in books, magazines, periodicals, encyclopedias, journals, newspapers, and other publications. Take note, publications, so they are published, they are printed. These are related to the existing problem, and they may be classified as either local, which are printed in our country, or foreign, which are printed abroad. Examples are speeches, letters, diaries, bulletins, circulars, reports. For example, diary, you also write diary, as I do. And what are related studies? There are studies, these are studies, inquiries or investigations that are already conducted, or studies to which the present proposed study, the problem at hand, is related or has some weight or similarity to the previous study. These are investigations that are usually established material. What is the importance of related literature and studies in our research? They guide or help the researcher in searching for or selecting a better research problem or topic. They help you, the researchers, understand his or her topic to make it a better one. They ensure that there will be no duplication of other studies and researches, and they guide the researchers in locating for more sources of related information. So you will have more information which you can use in your present study. They guide the researcher in making his or her research design. What research design are you going to use? And they guide the researcher in making comparison between the findings with the findings, his findings with the findings of other researchers on similar or related studies. So, your findings today, you can compare it with the findings in the previous study. What are the sources of review material? First-hand investigation, doctoral dissertations, and monographs in professional magazines. Let's include the thesis, annual reports of research institutions, government offices, and agencies. The textbooks or your books, they are a big help to you. Magazines, newspapers, encyclopedia, internet articles, which you usually do in your Google, and then experimentation. Why? What is the importance of related literature and studies? They guide the researcher in making the design. We're done with that. They guide our action. So, what are the criteria that we can use in evaluating materials for your RRL or review of related literature? We have accuracy and dependability. Are these materials accurate? the authority, the person who wrote the material. Suitability for a specific. Is it, does it fit the problem? Is it related to the problem at hand? Up-to-dateness. It should be the recent studies or the recent materials given or written, and the scope. Continue. To continue with, we have the arrangement, the treatment style, use, illustrations, tables, and diagrams, the author and the publisher, of course. Where will you find these sources? From public and private libraries. Our school has more than enough books and studies which you can use in your problem, in your study. And then network sites, government and private offices, they have libraries. So how will you organize? Organizing the review of related literature first. Prepare an outline of the topics to research. Classify the review into topics. Make a comparison and contrast where findings where it is necessary. Whether the reviews are undesirable. You don't have to get so many materials or reviews. Show results and not only the tabulated data. The interpretation. Do not cite the opinion of the author unless it is an essential argument. Write research findings on your own words to fit the purpose of your paper. Do not use the words of the author or of the researcher. If the information was obtained from a secondary source, check the citation from the original publication. Citing word for word needs enclosing them in quotation marks, meaning to say those words are not your original, those are the words of the one who wrote it. There are common errors observed in writing the RRL. Researchers tend to rely on secondary sources. Why? Because tinatamad. And what is there? Yun ang gagamitin, the secondary sources. There's a tendency to look only at the findings of different researchers. They jump into the findings immediately without reading what is there inside the research or study. Overlooking resources on less developed countries. Please make use of literature, of studies that come from developed countries, not with countries. No offense meant for the underdeveloped countries, because we can get more with progressive countries. What is conceptual framework? It is part of the RRL. It is a scheme formulated out of the review of related literature. From the different reviews that you have made, you are going to frame your own conceptual approach. It clarifies the relationship between and among the major variables of the study. Now, it is your own position on the problem. It is an explanation of the problem to be studied after the researcher's review of various literatures and studies. In short, it is illustrated in a conceptual approach. And here is the conceptual approach. We call it the IPO. What is in the IPO? For I, or input, first is the demographic profile of the respondents and the variables. This will come from the SOP or statement of the problem in your chapter 1. And then the field, which is for the process. This will be conducted through a survey questionnaire or structured or unstructured interview. There will be questions. And for the O, which is the output, this will be the outcome, the result, or the product of your research. Or for example, using the findings, how can you craft, using the findings of your study, it is how can you craft a guide from out of these findings. Okay? So that's the IPO. The IPO, input, process, and output. Let's go to the paradigm. What is the paradigm? This is a schematic diagram which depicts the relationship of variables. There you go. As I've explained, the IPO. You can use circles and arrows to show cause and effect. Use boxes and straight lines to show a relationship. So there, you will see a difference. So guys, that is chapter 2, the review of related literature and related studies. If ever you have some questions, your teachers will be very glad to answer those during your conference day with your research teachers or advisors. And I will also be hanging around to answer questions or whatever that you want to add on this chapter 2. So, thank you very much, and see you again. See you around.